Hello, this is just a quick tarot reading for the Flame community on Discord. For those of you in the Flame, you know who you are. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's a free online video, voice and text chat server. And the Flame community on there is a group of like-minded people who have awakened to or are awakening to becoming more spiritual overall. Not religious, that's different, but spiritual. So I've already drawn the cards, and the reason for that is because I tried to record this video before and something went wrong, and it stopped partway through, so the cards have already been drawn. So the Oracle card, and this is for the next week, which is between the 10th and the 18th of September 2018. So the Oracle card I drew was the Embrace the Dark card. And this, it matches with the first tarot card. This is the Dreams of Gaia Tarot and Oracle deck, which is the reverse Four of Water. Now, the Embrace the Dark card is all about understanding that we all have a whole range of emotions. And our cultures and societies have taught us that this section of your emotional spectrum is negative and this section is positive. But that's an arbitrary label. It's not, it doesn't reflect reality. There is no such thing as a positive and negative emotion. All emotion is simply emotion and is there as a survival mechanism and is there to help us navigate the experiences that we experience in our lifetimes. This card is teaching us that we need to let go of this idea of negative and positive emotions, and that all emotions are here to be used as tools. It also tells us that it is important that we do what some would call shadow work, what others might call internal reflection, where we analyze the emotions that we feel at any one time to determine their source. The first step of that is to look at, is the situation that is generating this emotional response of a severity that it matches the emotional response? To do this, you need to constantly be mindful of your emotions, to almost be observing yourself as an outsider, so that you don't become consumed by emotion at any time. What you'll often find is that's not the case. It doesn't really match the current situation. The emotional response seems very extreme compared to what's actually going on. And when that occurs, it means that you're purging, that a current situation is triggering a memory of an emotional response. And the current situation is triggering that in your emotional self, which doesn't understand past, current, future. It only understands now. And something that may have happened decades ago that you haven't really dealt with, that keeps resurfacing in your mind. It's a guilt or a feeling of shame or regret or anger, hatred, jealousy, etc. That a current event triggers that stored, repressed emotion, and that can come out of us in an explosive way at any time. And afterwards we might think, why did I react so strongly to such an event? That's because it's a repressed emotion. And by being mindful of our emotions at any one time and analysing them rather than automatically allowing them to dictate our behaviour, we can start to discern when these emotional responses are triggered by stored repressed emotion. And then we can do shadow work. And there's many different ways of doing that to heal from that past trauma. Now remember, this also happens with what many would call, and we shouldn't do, but positive emotions with love and gratitude. The same process applies. But those emotions generally are positive in terms of our actions and our in the world and towards others. So the Four of Water reversed with this card is also reinforcing the message that for the following week, for some members of the Flame, strong emotions are going to be surfacing. This could be in your home life. It could also be in the community. But strong emotions are going to be surfacing, and the Oracle card is telling you that be careful, because these emotions are most probably going to be repressed emotions that you need to purge. And that means allow them to exist. Do not repress them again. Allow them to flow out of you, but do it in a mindful manner. If it's going to be harmful for the situation or not productive, then utilize that emotion and express it in a more productive manner. Maybe you do art, maybe you meditate, maybe you create music, maybe you're physical and you can go and do a sport, or whatever it may be. You can purge those emotions out, but not in a time and place that's going to inflame a situation and have a less than positive effect for you and the others involved. The next card in the spread is the Desire card. The Desire card is, as it says, all about desires. What this card in this spread, in this position, is suggesting is that, this is my cat, sorry. Okay, the Desire card is suggesting that this week it's important that you really reflect on your desires. The first two cards, if not taken heed of, the Four of Water reverse and the Embrace the Dark Oracle card, can be damaging to your desires of becoming a healed, healthy, more spiritual, more connected person. It also reminds us that whatever we desire to achieve in life, we have to put energy into it. Whether that's spiritual energy, whatever you may call that energy, or whether it's physical action and dedication and time, money, resources. Whatever we hope to desire to achieve, we must invest, and what we get back is a reflection of what we put into it. Similarly, how we treat others is reflected back to us as well, so bear that in mind. You may have desires to achieve, but so does everybody else, and they have a right to that. So bear in mind that this week your repressed emotions resurfacing could impinge on others' ability to manifest their desire for betterment and spiritual development. So if you do not manage your emotions in a mindful way. This card also reminds us to let go of expectations. It's great to have desires. We all have desires, and that's perfectly normal and natural. But those desires may not manifest in the way that we initially expected them to or desired them to, and this can lead to disappointment. So this card is a reminder that have your desires, but don't be rigid in your expectations of what you are going to manifest. Okay, so the last two cards of the spread. We've got the Queen of Air and we've got the King of Fire. This could indicate two individuals that are going to be important for you this week. If this is so, then what you're looking for is the Queen of Air type is a feminine energy. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a female, but somebody who some might call cold, but that isn't the case. The Queen of Air type is somebody who is a critical thinker, who doesn't allow their emotions to overwhelm them, who allows the emotions to exist, who recognizes that emotions are important, but allows them to be expressed in a productive way, in a mindful manner. This is somebody who is nurturing, who is a feminine energy, somebody who cares for others, who wants to help others, but does it in a balanced way. This isn't somebody who just needs to be needed. This is somebody who genuinely cares about others, but also respects their boundaries and their desires. This could also mean that you need to embody this energy this week, that you need to be mindful of the Queen of Air archetype, in that this is somebody who is respectful of others, that everyone is living their own path and has a right to that path, but is there to lend a helping hand and guidance when needed, but somebody who is careful to manage their own emotions. Somebody who has achieved that state of mindfulness, of awareness of our awareness. The King of Fire, the last card, if this is an individual that's going to be important for you this week, this is somebody who is a leader, somebody who has leadership authority, or a persona of a leader, but somebody who recognizes that a leader cannot be a leader without a team. Somebody who understands and values the support and the efforts of the wider community of which he is a leader within. This could also be, again, an energy that the spread is recommending that you personify this week. And this would mean that it's an advisory card to recognize that you are not alone, that you are part of a team. Even if that's you recognize your family as your team, your wider community as your team, the flame as a team. You are also part of a wider collective. You are connected to all of humanity, and all of humanity is connected to all of Gaia, all of life, and this goes outwards and outer and outer throughout the galaxies and universes and dimensions. You are not alone. You are supported, and this card is asking you to recognize that and appreciate that and understand that. It's about recognizing that even though we are all at some fundamental level one consciousness and awareness, that your team members need you to recognize their input and their value to you. It could also indicate that there are team members within your community, within the flame community, as this spread is for the flame as a whole, as well as the flame members, individual communities, that are going to be needed this week, that are going to be supportive this week, that are going to help you this week. Somebody with an authority, somebody you respect, somebody who has wisdom, and that they need also to be appreciated for their assistance. So, overall this week, as a summary, you may be feeling emotional. You may have many emotions surfacing, and you may feel a bit out of control. When you feel these emotions, try not to act on them immediately. Self-reflect, even if that means you need a little meditation time to understand why you are feeling these emotions. But do not repress them. Allow them to be expressed in a controlled, mindful manner. They can be very useful tools at times. And remember that you are on a journey. Everybody is on a journey, whether they are aware of it or not, that you are on a path and you have desires for the future. Analyze those desires, make sure they are not impinging on others' desires. Understand that you need to input energy into achieving those desires. Make sure they are realistic, so you're not going to give yourself too high expectations so that you're constantly disappointed. And to recognize that your team, your community, the flame members are also on a path with their own desires. Okay, so that's the reading for the flame community this week. I hope that's helpful to you, and I hope to do the same next week. I'm going to try to do these every Sunday and upload them to YouTube. Okay, thank you. Speak to you later.